Welcome directly to you, episode 157. It's the 157th episode of our podcast. Who are we? We're fanatixfour. I'm AJ fanatixfour. I'm joined by Parker at fanatixfour. We talk about video games and stuff here. You can support all that stuff by going to youtube.com/fanatixfour or twitch.tv/fanatixfour, giving us $4.99. It could be your $4.99, or it can be Jeff Bezos' $4.99. If you, your uncle, your grandma, your dog has an Amazon Prime account, you can connect it to your Twitch account. You get a free subscription. They can give it to people whenever you want, whoever you want to give it to.
There's got to be at least one dog that has an Amazon Prime account.
At least one.
You know, because there were, unless the movie The Big Short lied to me, which it probably did at some point in a little bit of way. There was like one house in that movie that they showed was like under the name of somebody's dog or something like that. Because, you know, it was back in the days when like people were buying a million houses and stuff. So if dogs owned houses, dogs can have Amazon.
They gotta have
accounts,
Amazon Prime account. At least like the influencer dogs, they have an Amazon Prime account. 1,000%. For sure, they have Amazon Prime account. But in exchange of that subscription, you can get loyalty badges, you get emotes, you get free Switch keys from time to time, you get access to supporters only Discord, where you can talk to Duncan and say yo back and forth. You say yo, he says yo, you say yo back, and then it ends there. You can only say 3 yos. You could join our Discord regardless and probably talk to Duncan, but there's no 3 yos in the regular chats, dude. It's not allowed. It's not allowed. It's against the law. But you know, it's just, you know, you can help out if you got it. But also, Twitch Prime subscriptions are a burden on my life to some extent. Mine specifically is a burden. Because before, like, I started streaming actively, I just watched Twitch for Bob. Like, I literally would just watch Bob's streams or whatever. I didn't really watch. I would watch like Dan's streams occasionally, but back before I started streaming, Dan didn't really stream that much. Dan would like stream every so often, but now he streams like every week. So I would really only be on Twitch for Bob. So I'll be like, oh, I got this Prime subscription, I'm just going to give you that. But now that like I'm on Twitch all the time and stuff like that, it's like I don't always get to catch Bob's streams. And when I do, if I do, sometimes the Twitch subscription runs out. And then people will see, like, I'll write in the chat and it's like, oh, AJ's not subscribed. Let me give him a subscription. And then I'll give Bob a subscription, and Bob being Bob will like give me crap for it. Where obviously he's not like serious. He's not like, you're not giving me $5, but he's like, oh, AJ, you can link your Discord. Like, he gives me the whole spiel. It's like, shut up, dude. It's like I gotta preemptively be like, oh shoot, okay, I don't have the wolf, I had to click the thing, or just like the thing is, like, I'm debating just doing what I do with all of our other stream friends, where it's like I just go in their stream whenever I watch it, and ahead of time I'm like, just give me 6 months of the subscription for this, because it's the max. Like, I would just if I could buy 3 years right then and there, I would rather do that. But yeah, it's like now I'm either going to have to do that for Bob, or again, preemptively before I type anything, but I mean, do the Prime subscription. But if I do that, who gets my Prime sub? Who gets my Prime sub?
You?
I can't give me. I can't do it. Can't do it. So it's like, rip, dude. Can't use the Prime sub.
What a time
in my life.
Yeah. Maybe find some dogs that are streaming, and then, like, you know, just
I gotta find people that people don't know that I know. You know,
there you go.
Because like, if I go in Dan's chat and like, I mean, but for Dan, again, it's like a manual subscription thing. But for automatic subscription thing. But if I go in Dan's chat, people are gonna be like, oh, you're Dan's friend. Give AJ sub. You know, like, so it's like, rip, dude. Rip.
What a time.
But anyway, are you playing video games?
Yeah, man. Hey, look, I've got flowers back there, but they're dying. So this is the only time you're ever going to see them in the shot.
Just
everybody,
like Mario,
enjoy. Just like Mario. Yeah, man. I'm playing some video games. Not a whole lot recently. It's been just a busy old time. But let's see. More Bravely Default 2. That's going well. But I'm not going to talk about it because I've already talked about it a ton on here. Otherwise, I watched the Indie Direct last week, and I wasn't here to talk about it, but here's my very long story short impressions. I thought every single game, I was like, I would be at least interested to play this game, anywhere between interested to excited to play this game. Not one of them was I like, that's the game for me, no doubt about it, blah, blah, blah. But every single one of them, I was like, That's kind of cool. I'm down for that. So I feel like that was a good show in that regard. Like, yeah, it was good. But I did go ahead and get 2 of the games from that. I got Fez. I just haven't started it yet, but I got it. And I
can't do it.
Oh yeah, because the creator kind of sucks or something.
It's like I'm not.
Apparently he doesn't get any like, because I don't know anything about all that, but I've heard other people say that, and then I heard somebody come back and say like, oh well, he actually doesn't benefit, or he doesn't have anything to do with this one at all, or something like that. I don't even know. But yeah. I mean, same thing goes for like Minecraft though. Like the original guy Notch sucks from all.
I didn't buy Minecraft.
Oh, well, there you go.
I mean, well, actually, no, that's not true. I bought Minecraft on the Java version, but on console, I never bought it. Yeah, I just have it on Game Pass and stuff.
Yeah, that's true. You know, actually, I should try it on Game Pass because I never wanted to go out of my way to buy it because the couple of times I sort of played it, I was like, I don't know if I'm really into it.
I don't think it's worse. It's only like for me, I only like actually had a lot of fun with it when it was
the community thing.
Yeah, like literally just that. Like me, I've had fun with it before we did the influencer freaking RP server or whatever, which is not even role play yet or at all. We just are like playing Minecraft. Right. I mean, no, it's not. We're not just playing Minecraft. We're using it to like actually like be together. So right. Like, we're not role playing, we're just straight up being like, yo dude, so here's what happened this week. You know, it's not like, man, I'm an accountant in this Minecraft. No, it's like just straight up actually life. Only difference is Bob has a coffee shop and he doesn't have that in real life.
Might as well, you know what I'm saying? He's good at the coffee stuff. But yeah, so got Fez, even though the creator sucks. I don't really know anything about that, but I'm gonna play it at some point because it's one of my friends that he was one of the guys on the old podcast I had with me, and I don't know. He loves the game. That's all I'm trying to say by that. And then I also picked up The Longing, which was the one that's like the 400 days one. That one I'd heard about for the first time. I think there's 2 YouTube channels that are not the same YouTube channel, but are pretty much the same YouTube channel. And I never know which one's which. Adam Millard and an game architect or something like that. It's like video essays.
But okay.
I mean, I'm gonna look it up because I'm subscribed to both of them, so it'll be really easy to find them. But yeah, they're very similar, and they do like video essays on game stuff, but it's usually like more like game design kinds of things. So a bit more broad like and not game specific. Toolkit. Yes. Okay. That's the other one. Yeah. It's, I think I said, because Adam Millard, I think it's Adam Miller's game Architect of Game or something like that is the full name for that. And then the other one's Game Maker's Toolkit. Yeah. But both of them. Yeah. Okay. And that is exactly what it was. It was, Adam Millard, the Architect of Games. They're super similar, like same kind of concept. So I don't know which one made it, but one of those 2 channels talked about, it was Adam Millard. He talked about why The Longing takes 400 days to play. And the thumbnail was the 9,600 hour game. So I watched that video a while ago and it was interesting. It's just about like time in games kind of more broadly. It's not just about that game, but it kind of uses it as a focal point. And I thought it was interesting. And honestly, it was that I saw Alex Olney from Nintendo Life post a screenshot of like, all right, 400 days to go. And I was like, you know what? If this is going to be a cultural thing where all of the Switch owners that are going to buy it on this day, and then 400 days later, they all finish it on this day, which isn't actually going to be the case. And I'll get to that in a second. Then like, it would be fun to be with everybody else. It's like, we did it. We finished it together in 400 days. But the moral of the story is that's not exactly how that goes. In the game, depending on what you do, I only played it for like probably an hour and a half or so far. But the idea is that there is a king who's like gone to sleep for 400 days. He creates you a little shade and you're completely by yourself. Too much sleep. I mean, like, what's he get?
It's way too much sleep.
He's gonna just eat himself to death, like from the inside out.
I don't know how you sleep like that. I feel like if I sleep too much, my body is like, wake up. My body is like, if you don't get up right now.
What kind of weird dreams is he having too? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah. But so like
maybe he has a dream where he did wake up and he like did the day. So his body tricks itself. It's like, no, dude, you got up. Have a sleep.
And that's it. Like, yeah. But yeah, it's so in the game you essentially just go around. You have 400 days that you're supposed to theoretically just bide your time until you wake up the king. But it's like pretty obvious right from the get-go that it's like,
if you got 400 days with the king being asleep, how come you don't plan to usurp the king? How come that's
exactly the question. I think, to my understanding, there's multiple endings, and at the way beginning of the game, it shows like it pans down from surface level to down under the caves where you are, and then it like, skips a whole bunch, so you can't tell actually how far it is, just because like surface level, cave, and then more caves down where you are. So it's like obviously tons and tons and tons of caves and like tons of exploration that would have to happen and stuff. But ultimately you're like, do I stay here and wake up the king? Do I go back to the top? Or are there other things that I'll find out about later that I don't know, and like more mysteries to uncover and stuff like that? And but also, the more interesting things you do in the game, the faster time goes in it. So it kind of feels like one of those things where like probably when you're getting close to the end, you're almost like racing the clock, because it's like, oh, the king's going to wake up any minute now and he's going to catch me trying to get out, and he's going to be super mad about it. That's my guess. Like, I don't really know, but that's kind of fun. It's something that feels like just super boring, doing nothing, has kind of a neat little twist to it. And I'm playing one other game, but I'll let you say some words instead.
I'm still on the Smash grind, dude. I'm still trying to get good at the video game. Still, which is really not even trying to get good at the video game. It's like trying to actively think more when I'm playing the video game. Because again, resting on my laurels and stuff, playing against too many people that are bad. So I'm like, or not better, So it's like and people that I play often that also rest on their laurels. So it's like they fall into a pattern. I know their pattern. I outplay their pattern, and I rely on that. But now I'm trying to actively be like, oh, he jumped here, so I'm going to do this, like that sort of thing. So more of that.
I was listening to the podcasts. Yeah. I was just gonna say, I was listening to the podcast last week, and you were saying that you were, good at Smash and beat people and stuff. And Ashley was listening too, because we were in the car driving, and she was like, "Oh, AJ," like, and I was like, "No, he's actually really good." Like, oh, okay. It is funny. All right, but yes, you streamed.
Yeah, no, it's a burden because I like playing the game so much, but I don't know anybody else that is like, and that's not to say that I'm like the best person ever. It's just like I'm in this weird place where I don't play the game, and I'm not committed enough to the game to be like, I'm going to be a pro player, So like I don't have like connections with other pro players to be like, yo, let's play, dude. You know what I mean? But also the people that are like that play the game in a similar way to the way that I play it don't want to play with me. Because they're like, I don't know about that. Either that, or they just don't have they're not available when I'm available. So it's like, yeah, gross, dude, and I hate it. So I'm like trapped most of the time. Where I'm like, I feel like playing Smash, and it's like my only option is to play online with randoms. Like,
who was it? I want to say it was before I joined fanatixfour, before Smash Ultimate even came out. I think I want to say there was a guest on the podcast who was saying that they're like, man, I could beat MKLeo or something like that. I can't even remember if MKLeo was one of the people that's gotten canceled at this point, but it was somebody, okay, cool. Man, but I really want to remember who that was. It was somebody who was just like, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty good at Smash, but it's not like it was.
Oh no, I remember who exactly it was. I'm not saying it, but I remember who it was, and it's not before you joined the podcast. I know you're talking about though.
Was it? Oh, okay.
No, it was after. It was definitely after.
Oh, interesting.
I know who you're talking about though.
Yeah. Oh man, why did I forget his name? It's Brazilian Canadian guy, right?
No.
Oh, I was pretty sure it was him. Okay, no, then I don't remember. I just thought that was funny in retrospective, like, because I definitely get that feeling of like, if you play against other people that just, I mean, like if I played against other people that didn't really know what they were doing either, like I know what I'm doing ish, but definitely not in a, any kind of competitive sphere at all, including just like, our peers level of competitive. But like if you just play with your friends that come over and you goof around and like there's any amount of button mashing or whatever where there's some RNG involved and stuff like that, it's like, yeah, sure, you could feel like you could beat anybody because it's all fairly RNG based at that point anyway.
Right.
So
and see, but that's the thing though. Like, and that's where I was like in a weird place with like talking to Tweak and to Buzz. It's like, well, Tweak, I feel like he understood quicker, but it was like everybody has that friend that's like, I'm the best of our friend group or whatever, right? But it's not just that. It's not like this thing that's like, I'm just within my friend group. I've been tested by literally, and again, this isn't an exaggeration. This is just me being honest. Yeah. I've played against thousands of people at this point,
right?
On camera, like that sort of thing. And more often than not, I win. Like that's just the truth. So it's like it's a similar situation to like how pro players are used to, like they always go through pools and they're going to make it through pools, but there's 12 people that's like, oh, these people, these are the bracket demons, these are the people I got to worry about. It's that thing that like that's the part of the game that I'm not used to. I'm not used to playing against people that are on that level or higher, other than a select few people, right? Like I'll play with Falcon, and Falcon is like a person that pushes me. Lee, like that's another person that pushes me to get better at the game. But I got like 4 people like that, maybe. So it's like so limited of like when I feel like playing, do they feel like playing? That sort of situation.
Yeah. Man. Also, Canadian Brazilian Izzy. It wasn't Izzy Nobre.
No,
but
it
that
wasn't
was
him.
who.
It wasn't.
That was
him.
who I was thinking of.
And that was a meme because like he doesn't like. Yeah, he doesn't like Smash Brothers, and he's like, man, I bet I could pick that game up. That game looks easy, blah blah, like that sort of thing. But no, this was a different dude. Not talking about it though. But other than that, I streamed Smash mostly this week. But me and Lee yesterday we streamed Pokemon, and we did 2 tier lists this week. We did a tier list where we took characters out of the video game, and I mean there were a few people that was like, this character, and I mean jokingly too, where it's like, I play these characters, that's messed up, but they get it, they know that their characters are characters people don't like if you, and it was the same thing for me. Like Min is in the take this character out of the video game list because I know most people cannot fight Min, so it's like at that point it's like, nah, you can take her out, it's fine, for the greater good. But
also the fact that nothing's gonna happen based off your list, so it's like,
exactly,
really like, mad about, you know what I mean?
Like, no, that doesn't matter. That matters 0%. So zero. It's just the fact that if you dislike a character that somebody else plays, especially if they're like on the spectrum of like, I kind of think I'm good at this video game.
Yeah, right.
Like they always feel like that your opinion of their character invalidates how good or bad they are, or like their opponents are at the game or whatever, right? So like if you're like, your character's cheese, that automatically is like, you are bad because your character is easy.
Right.
So there are people that like vehemently are like, no, Sonic takes high skill. It's so hard to know when to spin dash, dude. Like that sort of situation. But I know.
What was the other tier list?
The other tier list, we did the evolutions. I didn't post that one yet because we get done streaming at like midnight. I'm not gonna make a tweet at midnight of like, hey people, engage. So I'm gonna post it probably either like right after we get done recording this or tomorrow probably.
Nice.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know if people are gonna be mad about that. Just know Flareon's very low because Flareon's bad at the video game. And that's like always, like we're always straddling the line between both whenever me and Lee do a tier list, because we're like, all right, like the Kirby tier list, part of the Kirby, like where we put what Kirby was like, partially how much better does it make Kirby, but also like, does it look dumb? Like what's the origin, like, or the inspiration of like this design specifically? And that's where it was. That's kind of what the evolution tier list.
I am curious what your tier list is going to be for the evolutions, because I mean, I definitely feel like I have some different opinions from at least some other people. Like, I want to like Vaporeon's design more than I like Vaporeon's design. And that always bugs me. So like I'd actually put it lower than I'd like to have the opportunity to put it.
I don't even think Lee actually sent me it, so I can't even post it until I message him and be like, yo, send me that.
Rough.
But Vaporeon's lower than I would have expected, just based off of like trying to compromise. Because like I was talking to people about the list of like, I can't believe you put whatever Pokemon here. And I'm like, it's 2 people making the list. I'm not just gonna like that. That's why Blastoise is an S. Because if it was just me, I'm like, no, put Blastoise in C.
I'm still so proud of Ian for that. That made me so happy. I was like, yes. And so coming back, I said this on Twitter, but to defend myself a little bit, I didn't pick blue because it was my favorite color, because it wasn't my favorite color at the time. Green and white were my favorite colors because of Power Rangers. Retrospectively, blue has become my favorite color. Gotcha. But I mean, I think I literally picked blue originally just because they were just both on the shelf, and I was like, I don't know, that one. And then probably I did pick Squirtle because it was the box Pokemon, and
I definitely feel like that was the key. I
something
feel like
that
people did that. It's like I picked this team.
Right. And then that kind of informed other stuff. But also, I think in general, just like I'm more of a water than fire kind of guy generally, like as whatever things. And I think I just liked the way, especially in early gens, that water interacted with other types more than fire. Like fire felt like really cool, but I think the fact that like that first time I picked Charmander, the first gym he had a really hard time at, something about that like probably what's the word I'm looking for, I don't know, like put something in my brain about incepted. There's the thing. Incepted something in my brain about fire's cool, but it kind of sucks against certain things, which is like, yeah, duh, everything does. But that was that. So
for me, it's very much so. I mean, it's a similar mindset to like why I like Smash Brothers so much, and why I like Pokemon Trainer, because it's like immediately they're not necessarily the best character in the game. Like I could, if I was doing the whole like trajectory of like I want to be the best at every individual level. If I'm bad at the video game, I'm picking like Ganon, I'm picking like Palutena or something like that, so I can just throw out attacks and they work and you might die for it. And then like once I'm getting higher, I'm like I might pick like a Mario or something like that. And once I get really even more better, I'm picking Joker. But because I just like Pokemon, and that's the character I like, that makes me want to get better at the game. Picking Charizard's like, it's harder at the first gym or whatever, but that makes it more fun because like I'm like working with my friend. Like so that's why. I mean, also because like,
and Charizard takes naps, so
I was like, Charizard looks freaking sick. I want that one. Period. Like that is the full stop reason. It's like, I like blue, but I don't care because Charizard looks sick. Also, he has blue.
That's true. Also,
Charizard's
like
best of both worlds, man.
For as janky as Gen 1 sprites are, the Charizard one's still like, it's okay. It's pretty good. And Blastoise Gen 1 sprite is just so bad.
Like Venusaur's really sprite is bad too.
Yeah, it is. The Japanese one is even worse. I was watching the Boundary Break video, or the Region Break video. She says put up that compared the Japanese and American Reds, and man, there's some janky sprites. I mean, in both, to be honest. Like some of them got better, some got worse. But like the Venusaur from Japanese Red is truly pitiful.
Yeah, you could just tell. Like I feel like the difference maker for the Pokemon taking off is the fact that like they leaned in more to like the anime's like depiction of Pokemon, because like the games were very much so like this is an RPG, like they're weird monsters and stuff, like it's cool. And then the anime came out and they're like, oh no, we got something else here, like this is a bigger thing than that. Like these aren't just like nondescript monsters that you run into. It's like these are characters in a world that matter, it's like, so they just worked harder to make them more iconic, and their depictions in the video game.
I feel like, the fact that Pokemon Yellow, I'm just looking it up now, the fact that Pokemon Yellow sold literally, I mean, half as much as
both of the other ones, as the other ones combined.
And that's honestly, wow, that says even more, because it's red, green, blue, red, blue, like that's all of those. Pokemon Yellow definitely sold the most of any
like
individual one of any of those?
Yeah, it sold like what 2.5 of them alone did.
Right.
Like
yeah,
if it was
that's
like red, like the Japanese red, like obviously Japanese green, and then like the American blue and red, like it probably sold like at least 75% of those 4 combined.
Like, which just goes to show, I think, the like, I mean, the Pikachu marketing, but the tie into the show and stuff. Because like looking ahead, Crystal sold 6 million versus the 23 million of Gold and Silver. So like, you know, it definitely didn't have the same kind of legs.
Like it didn't like individually beat out.
Not that, I mean, obviously that's still worth it, you know, like to do barely an upgrade. I mean, it's more than barely, but to do just a small upgrade and sell 6 million copies, like that's nothing to laugh at. But and then I left.
I mean, it's just like the Nintendo sort of thing where it's like, yeah, we could put out a Star Fox game and sell 2 million copies, but like we could just do another Mario and sell 20. So I do the 2.
Man. The last game that I'm playing real quick is Grindstone, but I'm playing it on my phone because I got a new phone, so I have Apple Arcade for 3 months for free.
Which phone?
So I was
did
like,
you get?
I have a 12. It came free when we changed plans.
Nice. So. Same.
Yep.
But also, I mean, like, not same because, like, I partially did it so that I could get the phone. Like, it was like, I want to ultimately save money here if I switch, but, like, also, I get a phone. So.
Yeah, right. So, yeah, I'm playing Grindstone. It's really good. I'm enjoying it a lot. It's on the Switch, so you can just pick it up there if you want. And the reason I got it on here instead of the Switch was, like, I didn't know. Like looking at it, I thought it was more like reactive and like fast and frenetic or whatever than it actually is. In a like, I was worried about that, because like looking at it, every time that it would show some gameplay, it would show the times where the guy's like going and like chaining through different enemies and stuff, but never points out the fact that like, oh no, you get to like sit and think of like, I mean, you can look at it if you want and like just try to do it really fast, but generally you kind of sit and like plan out the best path, and it's like pretty strategic in that regard, which I'm definitely happy about, because otherwise I just don't like things that feel like they're under time pressure, especially when it's a puzzle game. And then the other thing I was worried about was like, with it being a mobile game, and like, you know, I enjoyed playing Candy Crush some back in the day, but that game, those kinds of games are obviously meant to let you feel really good about yourself for a little while, and then at some point just like essentially paywall you out, or you know, you either pay to play or pay to win or pay to wait or pay not to wait or that kind of thing. So I was worried about that with this, but because it's an Apple Arcade exclusive that now is a paid game, it doesn't, you know, it's not monetized or anything like that. So I wasn't aware of that, which means that it's got all of its systems are just like regular in-game systems. It's just a straight up puzzle game. And so as you do stuff, you gain new weapons to do things with and different abilities, and like can switch out your arsenal so the different levels are easier or harder depending on what you want to do. So I was very happy with all those things.
Nice.
And it's good and it's fun. I'm still playing it. And that's everything I'm playing.
Speaking of Apple, I still kind of want the blue computer, but I'm not going to do it because I literally only want it because it's blue. There's a blue iMac now.
Oh,
they did the Apple Silicon iMacs, but they only did like the freaking like, you know, the like grandma family computer college freshman refresh, and it's like, nah man, like I can't, I'm not, no.
Man, that's rough.
I'm not gonna do it. I still think I'm gonna hold to, if I get another computer, depending on like if the like prosumer level iMac is good enough, I'll go through the hassle of like selling this one and then buying that and then blah blah. But I think my current plan is just to buy an Apple Silicon MacBook Pro whenever they do like the prosumer level version of that. So it's killing two birds with one stone. It's like I'm future proof to an extent, and also if I need to go somewhere and do something, it's not like this thing of like, but then I can't stream, I can't record, I can't blah blah blah. I'll be able to do that on my laptop.
Smart.
So Apple.
Yep.
Hurry up, dude.
True. Yeah, that's I said that's rough earlier, and I was going to transition with that. So I'm bringing that word back. It's rough. So is Scootish's comment about
Scootish is dumb. He's an idiot. I said I was going to say that. and I stuck to my word.
And he did it.
I'm doing this bit partially because of Heart Me Cutie, where she was like, Scootish hates me. And I was like, yo, Scootish hates me too. Scootish, first interaction I ever had with Scootish, and this is a bit. I was like, he just walked up to me. It was like, I hate everything about you. You're freaking trash. That's what Scootish said. You were there.
Wow. Yeah. What a memory, honestly.
Scootish,
yeah.
dude.
What a time.
So that's what happened, man. It was terrible.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still traumatized from it.
I mean, I can imagine. Scootish, I don't know if you've been paying the therapy bills for AJ, but you might.
No, because he hates me. Why would he pay the therapy bills?
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, makes sense. He said in the Q&A, and I'm pulling it up for the main topic because there's like not any news this week. But I do want to talk about this. He asked, is Pokemon Snap really any good? Seems like some weeb stuff, but he didn't say stuff. For the record, yeah. Yeah, this is the last week before new Pokemon Snap comes out.
He's been saying this the whole time. He's been saying it the whole time that like, and he said it on the podcast when I had him on the podcast, where he was like, it's not like he never played it because it doesn't look like it's a good game, blah, 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 which I never understood that. Like Bob kind of has like the same thing where he doesn't understand why people like it. And it's like, but he gets why people like Star Fox 64. They're the same video game. They are the same video game with different coats of paint. Like, it's like, but it's on real. It's like, yeah, and so is Star Fox. The only difference is your reticle is dressed up as a spaceship.
Yeah, like, right. Yeah, so I mean, that's the thing. Like, I know. Yeah, I told you this beforehand, but like, I remember before Animal Crossing came out, I and lots of other people were like, I mean, I guess it's going to be good, but I don't know why it's going to be good or what I'm going to like about it. And this is one that I think you and I both feel like, nah, this is going to be like. It's going to be big news for at least a couple of weeks on Twitter and stuff, and like people are going to enjoy it, and probably a lot of people that are like, oh, I didn't know I was going to enjoy this. So this is our last opportunity to put a word in edgewise before we find out why. Yeah,
I think all of it boils down to very Breath of the Wild like things where it's like it's emergent gameplay. It's like, oh, I did that and this happened. Like they've been posting a few of the interactions that can happen in the game, and there's this interaction where this Sharpedo is chasing the Squirtle, and Lapras is like, nah, get out of here. And Sharpedo's like, oh, shoot. All right. Okay, giant fairy Pokemon, Ferry. Yeah. Let me get out of here. Yeah. But like, what if you're like, hey, Lapras, what if I gave you a snack? Like, let's see how this played out.
Like to keep Lapras distracted while that's going on.
Let nature play its course and see what happens here. Like, it's stuff like that. That's like, so freaking you eat a apple or a berry or whatever they want to call it in this video game. Lapras is like, oh shoot, food for the next 10 seconds. And then Squirtle freaking gets eaten, and then he evolves into Wartortle and punches through Sharpedo's stomach. Like, that's why people like Pokemon Snap, dude.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Is like there's going to be, in and of itself, if you do nothing but take pictures, there's like cool scripted moments, and that's fun to be able to see Pokemon in a way that's like, you know, it's represented in the anime, but it's not represented in the games of them doing the things that they're supposed to be doing in their world, and it being like fun to see them do it. But the fact that you can interact with it as well and change what happens based on all that is like, that's the thing that's gonna, depending on how interactive that is and like, you know, how much stuff can affect things. You know, because the thing that I've never known, I guess, about the original too is like, is it a lot of branching paths as far as like, you know, there's scripted things that happen, but then in that case, I throw a ball at Lapras. It's not really like if I throw a ball at Lapras, then this happens. I mean, it kind of is.
And in the original Pokemon Snap, there are individual interactions that are like, if this, then that, not, then this.
Yeah.
But
this one could very well have more complicated
20
stuff.
years later.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, at the very least, I would expect them to have like the amount of individual interactions be expanded. Yeah. Like I can't see it being a thing where it's like each individual interaction has 4 different possibilities or whatever, but I can see each individual interaction contributing to more than one interaction. That's not just like, oh, okay, well, the Charmeleon's coming, better get my apple ready. It's like, oh shoot, do I want to throw the apple at Charmeleon, or do I want to throw it at freaking Moltres and see what happens there? Like that sort of like it being two things at once that you need to choose between to see what the alternate path is, or neither one of those things, and just do it as normal. And I think that like they're already kind of hinting at that just by the fact that, I mean, first of all, the thing that they're showing off right now is the interactions. Like, if the whole bread and butter, if this is just literally Pokemon Snap how it is, that doesn't make sense for them to do. It doesn't make sense for them to show us those interactions, because that would be the value of the video game. But us being able to be like, I wonder if I can do something else here. On top of the fact of like, they're doubling down on the fact that it's like, yo, you can go to these places at different times of day. Like that's going to change like the Pokemon that are there, which will change like what you see and like all that stuff. Right. So I think that is like the core of like what is cool about this game. Like from a gameplay perspective, obviously it has like like Detective Pikachu appeal, where it's like, yo, I get to see the Pokemon like in their natural habitat interacting with each other and with me. Like it has that appeal. But
I mean, there's also the obvious thing that I think we don't even talk about that much, but like actually the taking pictures and getting scores on those pictures and stuff like that, like that's pretty fun once you get into it. Like if it were just that, probably kind of suck. But I
mean, it would suck, but it would not in the sense that it would be bad. Like this is a bad video game, because it would be like, like that. But the fact that I'm paying $60 for this arcade game is like, I don't know about that. But because I think the reason why I am okay, on top of the fact of like the Detective Pikachu thing, like Pokemon as a brand is worth $60. It doesn't really matter what the game is, sort of thing. And that's not even just me saying that. Like that's not even the fact that like everybody knows I love Pokemon, blah, blah. Pokemon is, again, for the 1,000th time, the most valuable entertainment brand. So they can charge $60 for a thing and it will sell. Therefore, it's worth $60. But even like detached from that, I think that like the emerging gameplay end from the fan, it was like from a gaming fan, that's just cool. It's very similar to like we get to a question about this later, but like WandaVision, where it's like, I care about the MCU fine, but like I was big invested in WandaVision from a fan's perspective of media, where it's like, what are they doing? Like that sort of thing, right? Like I don't even have to care about the MCU to care about WandaVision, because they're twisting like known tropes, and like if you watch sitcoms or movies or TV in general, like you understand like there's certain rules, and the show fundamentally breaks them in a lot of different ways. That is interesting. The fact that this game does that in a smaller way, obviously. It does Breath of the Wild stuff of like, yo, I was running down this thing and this dragon popped up. Did you see this dragon? No, I didn't see the dragon. I saw a freaking Cyclops there.
Yeah, right.
Like it's that sort of situation.
Yeah, it is that situation. And it'll be a fun game, but not even close to as fun as Diddy Kong Racing 2, which you talked about. Existing for sure, confirmed.
That was
no questions asked.
Most minor part of it, where it's like I literally was like, I guess I'll talk about freaking Diddy Kong. I mean, and I like Diddy Kong Racing, but the whole reason, and I've talked about this being a thing that I don't know how often it happens for you, where it's like I think of like this random video game idea where it's like, yo, like it'll be something small in the news cycle like this, where it's like, yo, but like what if they did this with this character? And I was like, I can't make a full video about that unprompted for no reason. I have to like make it like a full thing, So here we are.
Diddy Kong. I don't even like, somehow I missed the news of the model happening. I guess it was while I was out of town or something. But
it just popped up on my Twitter, because like I follow like the game, like whatever game topic I follow on Twitter, that's one of the things that blew up within that. I was like, yeah, there's this new model. And I was like, whatever. But then I was like, what? What if?
Yeah. So here's some comments from, so first one, Incel Destroyer says, bruh, you reach an LMAO. Fun video regardless.
See, but this is the thing. And I replied to this comment because like I hate the sentiment, like the sentiment thing. Our videos are literally never from the perspective of like this is enhance for sure. This is going to be the thing. It's like, oh, this is a fun talking point, you know, like this is something that's in the news. What if what if it happened though? Like how sick would that be? And when it does, that's cool. If it doesn't, so what? It was still fun talking about it. Like we're not game explaining. We're not trying to be like, yeah, we're gonna spoil the game before it comes out. So I mean, not spoil. Spoil is like it has a more negative connotation.
Right. But like figure out the game or like
like we're gonna like tell you how the game pans out before anybody sees it because we're that good. Like that's not what I'm doing here. I'm not 8-ball corner pocketing you. I'm saying like this will be cool.
I mean, like, because honestly, this like some of these videos are things that we could make at any time, but people just wouldn't necessarily watch it or be shown it at any time. But when more people are talking about a related topic, it's, you know, kind of helps other videos.
Yeah, because like if we're literally making that video, if we're making the video of like a game explain video, we're like, look at this news topic thing, and here's the hidden details that you missed. Chances are we're going to make the same exact video that they made. They have 1 million subscribers, we do not. And even for the case where it's like there's a lot, obviously we have crossover. There's people that watch our videos and watch their videos and watch all of our videos and watch all of their videos. Like those people do exist. But I don't want to make them watch the same video over again, even if the small discrepancies there where it's like our opinions may vary here, blah, blah. I'd rather go completely left field and be like, this is a fun topic to talk about. Like, this is a thing that's happening right now. I'm going to give you my like overall thoughts on like what's happening here, which is like this model probably doesn't, I mean, it probably doesn't mean much. It definitely means something, but it probably doesn't mean like the best case scenario here. But like, let's talk about the best case scenario because it could still be fun. You know, rather than the whole thing of like going in the whole other opposite direction of like memeing it into oblivion where it's like, let's like tongue in cheek, like analyze the fur here, you know, like that sort of situation. It's like a happy medium. It's like a fun topic, not taking it too seriously, injecting a little bit of news and like game industry, like, you know, just from like analyzing the industry and seeing like in the past they've done this. So that probably means this doesn't mean anything, but also it probably means that like it doesn't, again, it's not like, not something to like go crazy about. Situation.
Yeah. And speaking of crazy, Brooks Eggleston said, our friend from Character Design Forge said, oh my gosh, Diddy Kong Wood Tech Hollow Knight sounds so amazing.
I'm saying it would be freaking sick.
That'd be super
It'd be
cool.
dope. It makes a lot of sense. It's there's so much that, and again, this sounds like more biased than I actually mean it, but I think Smash Brothers opens up the like potential of so many franchises just by like how Sakurai like reimagines them. Because it's like their games, especially like the older characters, like the Captain Falcons, the Foxes and stuff like that, like just by how he depicts them in the game, where he extrapolates where it's like, okay, they may not have this move, but their world has these rules and like this is how it operates. So this makes sense, you know, like this fits contextually. Like the fact that he does that, it's like, oh, but yeah, like what if they went like the snake ate its tail in that way, right? Where it's like, okay, like Smash Brothers was inspired by our game in this way. Let's use how like the outcome of that to be inspired and make something out of that. The Breath of the Wild situation, where it's like the original Zelda came out and then games got inspired by that, and then Ocarina of Time came out and was like, okay, let's do it 3D, and then more games got inspired by that. Now with Breath of the Wild, they're like, oh, okay, let's take some now. Like we give a lot, let's take and then like expand on it and blah blah blah, you know, like it's a give and take sort of situation. It like the idea of them again, like going further from the thing of like, okay, we think this thing that Sakurai did is really cool. Let's go further with it. And how Sakurai's done it, right? Where the Kid Icarus Uprising, where he's like, okay, I'm going to reimagine this character because there's no like modern depiction of it, but he can be cool, you know? So he did that in Smash, and then he made a game off of that as a springboard. And that game's really cool. So like if more developers did that, I think it could be dope.
I think with the Wood Tech thing too, like, there's a Swiss Family Robinson kind of opportunity for for just Donkey Kong in general. And I feel like especially for Diddy Kong, because he kind of feels like the with his like rocket or with his jetpack backpack kind of thing. Like there's an element where he feels like he could be kind of the brainy one that, fits stuff together or whatever. And so that would be really neat just to have like sort of that like technology, but like the like Swiss Family Robinson version of technology in their worlds that could get introduced and like could open up a whole bunch of gameplay opportunities as well. That'd be super cool. Nebnub says, imagine Retro or the Mario Odyssey team or Rare to make a brand new 3D Donkey Kong adventure with 2D, 3D, and racing sections.
Yo, racing would be a left. That'd be out of left field. I mean, if they did like the thing of like, yo, people like Diddy Kong racing, let's make a Diddy Kong game, and then also like incorporate the racing part. I could see that.
I think the question with this that's a little tricky is like that feels a little like Sonic Forces approach to a franchise that's kind of dormant or like they're not exactly sure what to do with or whatever.
Where it's so like we don't know what the identity
jack of all trades,
should be,
master of none sort of thing.
Exactly. Yep.
So that could, I mean, it could be cool, but it would be one of those things where like I would rather either one or two of those things. I mean, ideally all three of those things fleshed out well, but I would still rather one of those things fleshed out really well.
I agree. Like I don't really need, I mean, the racing in 3D could be interesting. I don't need this to be 2D. I know what Diddy Kong
right
is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So like I think it would be more interesting if this was like a full 3D thing, because they haven't gotten that right yet. In the same way that Mario can exist both in 2D and in 3D and be significantly different. Like there's people like Max that like one but hate the other. you know, like being able to have like that dichotomy with all their franchises, I think it's very possible and could be interesting. Like Nintendo is in the unique position where it's like not only do they like lose out on the potential of like using all of their franchises and like like really like blowing them up in one way where it's like, okay, Ice Climbers can be our like 3D like survival game or whatever, right? Like that could be the thing, and then that's just it. But like, what if it's that and then also a more modern 2D take on it? Like they could like double dip on every franchise they have easily, and they would make a lot of money off of that. But also, I mean, it would take a lot of money and a lot of time and a lot of resources and blah blah. So like, I get why they don't, but
I do wonder if that's something, or no, even wonder, but like wish that that's something that they cared about prioritizing. Is that sounds more negative than I actually even mean it, but like that, I don't know that they're really trying to get that many more studios or any of that kind of thing to be able to do all those. But at the same time, they're working with like other devs for especially more games within their own franchises, like New Pokemon Snap being Bandai developed and stuff like that. Koei Tecmo doing other things. So like there is an element to where I think they are saving in-house studios to be able to do
it on some level.
Yeah.
But at this, like in this regard, it's like it's kind of all down to like the company they aspire to be. Because of like they have a very Apple approach to an Apple and Disney and that sort of thing, right? It's like I mean, like if they double down on the Disney thing, maybe there's hope to that, because like they're doing that at this point now. Disney's like, okay, let's make everything.
But they also have plans out like 7 years in advance that we know, even up to like 2024 or something like that. But like that said, for all we know, Nintendo also has plans out to 2027.
That's true. But I mean, the game
we just don't know about them.
Public, right. But I was going to say, like, if their like inspiration was Amazon, like we would have that. They would be like, okay, we're throwing $1 billion at every single one of our franchises. Why not? Like that sort of situation. But they're a lot more conservative than that. So
or
at least they have been. Again, we don't know. 2027.
Exactly. Honestly, I'm really interested in 2021, especially because we know so little, and we're in the point where we've gotten so many of the first like big first party franchises already out of the way. So the question now is like, do they come back and mostly double dip, or do they keep expanding? And I wouldn't be surprised to see a new Star Fox, a new Donkey Kong, or a new Metroid this year. But
I'd be shocked if we see Metroid, because we already know what Metroid is.
I mean, there's been rumors of a 2D Metroid for a long time. So something with that. But I mean, obviously, it wouldn't be a 3D Metroid. It would have to be a 2D Metroid. I don't know. And then TJP Real says, Playtonic Games should make a new 3D Donkey Kong game. They are the Rare devs.
Yeah, that's exactly why I don't want them to do it. Because they already tried that, and then they tried it again with Ukulele, and it was like, yeah, this is.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like
Ukulele and Possible Lair, that's 2D though.
Yeah,
so it's
and it's good.
I think their territory. I mean, which is weird because Banjo-Kazooie is really good. But then again, it's
I wonder
really good
if it's
in
a
the context
Kickstarter
of that
kind of
generation.
thing.
Yeah, true.
Where with that, I think there's probably a pre-production just issue in general with because you don't know what to aim for when you start pre-production if you're doing a Kickstarter, and then you get money and you get more money, you get more money. So instead of having a solid foundation, I feel like you end up having 7 different little foundations and then building things off of that, which is probably pretty janky. And that's probably why a bunch of Kickstarter games don't turn out super great. Because they bit off more than they could chew at that point. But I do wonder if they try to do another Ukulele, if that turns out any better. But I still don't want them to be the ones to do it 3D Donkey Kong.
I would much rather it be developers
New Super Lucky Sale.
I mean, that's
cool. I mean, I'm not saying they're my first choice. I'd say Nintendo APD is my first choice, but
because I would like to see a company that has a mix, right, where it's there's a mixture of people that are steeped in the industry and have been, so they've worked on games like this in the past, but they're also new blood, right? Where it's a lot of people that have played these games and grew up with these games, and they have new ideas for them, right? So it's the foundations there, where it's okay, we know what works and we know what didn't work. Let's not do this. Let's do this. And then there's people with new ideas where it's oh, and also let's try this out. I think that's the best balance for bringing reviving something from nothing, or in this scenario, making good on a promise that was interesting but didn't pan out right. That sort of thing.
Yeah. Mad Society 20294 says, I hope for a new Donkey Kong game. I don't care if it's a teaser and says something like summer 2022 or something. I can't see Retro Studios making a new Donkey Kong game with them being busy working on Metro Prime 4. I would love to see the Mario Odyssey team make the next Donkey Kong game.
I don't know if they would do that. I don't know if I feel like the Mario Odyssey team is the Mario. I mean, and to be fair, EPD shuffles people. They're okay, you go work on Splatoon these next 2 years or whatever, right? But for the most part, the Zelda team is the Zelda team, the Mario team is the Mario team. It's while they may shift around talent every once in a while, I doubt that they would dedicate the Mario team to something that's not Mario, because Mario is just too big for that. I would like to see them do EPD do it though. I don't think Retro is entirely focused on Metroid. I think that the fact that they're still hiring for this video game doesn't say to me that they're not staffed enough for the video game. I think that they're working on Metroid, and they're we also want to work on other stuff, so we don't want to have all hands on deck on this game. We want to have people that can focus on this and people that can do the other things that we do.
I definitely
they have a history of that. They have a history of having a lot of plates in the air, just spinning them, and a lot of them fall, but they try a lot of different stuff.
I definitely obviously there's good things going with the Tropical Freeze and the Donkey Kong Country franchise as it is, so I definitely want them to be involved in some way, even if it's half retro, half EPD, or split focus, kind of like Fire Emblem was, where it's between Koei and Intelligent Systems and stuff. A similar kind of thing where there's some elements that they both bring together, because I think we'd be remiss to have a brand new 3D Donkey Kong that doesn't feel anything like the 2D Donkey Kong. There's still momentum of him that needs to carry over, which obviously Nintendo cares about that, because they care about that with Mario and with everybody else. But but I could see them caring less about it for Donkey Kong for sure than for Mario. Yeah. Obviously, because Mario. Simon Baker says the chances should be quite high of getting a new oddball Donkey Kong game, right? The Switch will reportedly have a longer than usual lifespan. Because of this and the Wii U ports, Nintendo will soon have entries of every main franchise on the system. This almost forces them to either dip into their B and C tier franchises or revive a new one.
Yeah, I feel like that, and I felt like that since the Switch took off, where it's like the Switch gives them a unique opportunity that they haven't had in a long time since the SNES, where they can try a lot of things, and just as long as they're like good games, that people will buy them. Because people are still like ravenous for like big new Switch games. That's why like even if we have multiple like marquee blockbuster titles, people feel like this year sucked because I didn't have like a major game to play every month. The fact that there's so many people that feel that way is like a blank check for Nintendo to be like, okay, like let's just make all of the things. But again, Nintendo's pretty conservative, so like they'll probably do like that to some degree. They probably won't do it as much as they probably should and could, you know, but they will get more risks than, and they've said as much than they've done recently, you know what I mean?
I think this comment sums up exactly how I feel about this. And that's not to say what's 100% likely, but it is what more seems like, more likely, or just like a great opportunity, if nothing else, that like, it's like now is prime time for them to be able to do some of these things and have them succeed as well as they ever could. But again, that's not necessarily to say that they're 100% going to do it.
I think that the problem, and like I think what we bump into a lot with not comments like this, but comments like the first one where it's like, oh, this is reaching or whatever, right? Because like in the past, or recent past, I should say, Nintendo has been like, we don't really want to like do that. We'd rather do this game that's going to sell X amount, blah, blah. But a lot of times people like argue that in bad faith, where it's like they're not looking at why Nintendo's like that. They're not looking at the fact that it's like our last freaking 6 home consoles sold under half of what our first one did, right?
Yeah.
So maybe we shouldn't do what we did the first time, because we don't have the audience for that. They're just like, Nintendo's not doing what I want, so therefore they hate money, you know, like that whole thing. But now they're in a very different space. They have already demonstrated that they know that because they have been taking a lot more risk even before they publicly said we want to take more risks, you know, like that sort of situation. So I think it's more logical to assume that more things will be different than the same.
Yeah. I mean, and like to the degree that we in 2018 and 2019 we're like, all right, now our third parties finally picking up the fact that like the Switch is doing all right and you can actually port games here. Nintendo obviously themselves, you know, are also listening and like seeing what's doing well and like watching that kind of stuff. So like they weren't like, they were confident about the Switch for sure, as far as like sales trajectories and stuff go at the beginning. But we've also heard plenty of reports from internal people where it's like, it's kind of do or die. Like, we're pretty sure it's going to go great because we think it's great, but also who knows? You know, they're not overconfident about it, which means like that they definitely needed the market to reassure them that it was okay to take the risks, which now means that like we're at a point where we could start to see those come to fruition this year or next year, or because
and like I think that it depends on if they like internalize like you can chart their successes and their failures to a T, where it's like, okay, here they did this thing and it did great. So the next time they tried to do it again, didn't do as good. So like, oh shoot, okay, let's try this thing and let's be conservative about it. Did great. Rinse and repeat. You know, like you can definitely see that. Like it was like we're like kind of like we're pretty confident like it could be great, and then it blew up, and like DS did similar, right? And then they came into Wii U being like, top dog, man. We got 100 million seller. We got 150 million seller. We don't even got to figure out what the selling point for this thing is. And then it came out and it flopped. So then Switch, they're like, oh, we think this is a pretty cool idea, but like you know, like that sort of situation. So hopefully they internalize that, and they are to some degree still not taking that big of a risk and not getting too far, like too ahead of themselves and being like, you literally are too big to fail. You know, like hopefully they don't do that.
I mean, definitely, like, because there's been comments from Furukawa that said something to the effect of like, I never feel confident about how we're doing, or something like that, where he was like, I don't know, I'm feeling, just like that. He's never overly confident, and that's like, I'm here for that. Because I wanted to be able to rest easy, but at the same time, not like, on his off hours, not for the video game.
Exactly. And it's, I mean, that even goes further than Nintendo. That's how failure happens in this industry. Unanimously, like across the board, every single failure was due to hubris. Every single one of them. Like, so they just gotta chill out, man. Like, take your wins gracefully.
Next comment. This is from Feral King, who says, while it would be nice to have my childhood back with Diddy Kong Racing, and a re-go at 3D Donkey Kong, I'm liking the Diddy Luigi's Mansion.
Diddy,
I'd like to give Diddy his Luigi's Mansion treatment a lot more. Yeah,
I agree. That is the significantly more exciting thing for me.
For sure. I mean, because obviously Luigi's Mansion, it did okay in the first one. It did pretty well in Dark Moon, and then it's like doing great in Luigi's Mansion 3. So
because it's like the first one's the proof of concept. The second one's like, all right, it's senior
iterating a little bit.
Like, I mean, junior
sophomore,
sophomore or whatever. Like that whole thing of like, are they gonna drop the ball? And the third one's like, nah, they got this, man. Like they did it 2 times before, and then it freaking blows up. And then it's also like the Fallout 4 situation, where it's like so many people talked about Fallout 3 that Fallout 4 was going to like blow up.
Exactly.
Like the latent hype from that, where it's like, I'm not going to jump in now, but I'll try the next one.
And that's why, like, honestly, Metroid Prime 4, I was talking about it on Twitter with some people, of like that it's Nintendo does have to do a lot of good marketing and all that stuff, and the game has to be great, but the marketing's already been going on for 4 years at this point, where it's just like just people being like, but Metroid Prime 4, like just saying those words is doing it. Last one, Mega Man says, Diddy Kong Racing has a huge yes from me, all caps. And I completely agree that this is the only option for Nintendo. That's what you said, right?
That's cap.
I mean, there are no other Diddy Kong games even worth thinking about.
No, that's cap. Diddy Kong Racing is, I mean, I'd be down, but it's definitely not the most exciting thing. It's definitely not.
But yeah, fun times. All right, and then we got comments from my video, and then we've got some Q&A after that. So here we go. I talked about F-Zero. What a fun time. This is, I mean, okay, so this, and I didn't want to say it in the video because obviously I wanted the video to feel more evergreen and stuff like that, but like a good half of that is stuff that we've already been talking about, and you talked about in a video back like 3 years ago at this point. But it's like, it's true. Like, that's the way it should be. So credit where credit's due, and also for the editing parts, because I felt like just garbage. But yeah, in any case.
But like, see, that's the thing. Multiple times I've been like, yo, man, like if you can't edit for whatever reason, don't worry about it. Especially like how you're like, I wanted to help your edits just generally, because like if you edit the video and it's like the baseline edit of like the footage, whatever's related on the screen, blah blah, and just be like, yo, here, this would be cool if it went on the screen. Like that is very easy for me to do. Well, very. Your video was literally the thing of like, I saw that you sent a file I was like on Discord with Lee or something. I was like, I'll get to this one. I wake up. I woke up at like 11. I was like, maybe I'll like edit this or whatever. And then it was like 1. And I was like, okay, I'll edit the video now. It's time for me to edit the video now. And then I finished it at 2:30. So it's like, those edits of like just whatever's on the screen, occasional, like here's visual representation of the thing that he's talking about that I can't show you in an interesting way without an animation. That base level edit is easy, or the editing on top of your base level edit is easy. So like if we can like, or whenever, again, like when you're not able to edit, that's no problem for me. The thing that takes me a long time is scripting. That's the thing that's like, I'm sitting here and I'm scripting for 10 hours where it's like, nah, I don't like this. I need to redo this. Nah, I don't like the wording here. I got to add more to this.
I think I just pick topics that I think I pick topics that are easier for myself because I do not have that problem. Like, I mean, it's not to say scripting is always fast, but like, I don't know, like usually tops of like 4 or 5 hours, but like more often probably 3, sometimes 2. Like this one, I just went. I also like was fine making this one be shorter than normal because I got to a point where I was like, that's all my thoughts. I'm done. All right, that'll be all my thoughts. Instead of being I think I could find more things to say.
It's rare. Like the only time that like I know from the get-go that the video is going to be easy is if a Pokemon thing happened.
Yeah.
But more often than not, when a video is easy, it's because I spent 6 hours trying to do a video that was more complicated. That just for one reason or another, I was like, I don't want to do that. So then I was like, all right, here's this easy idea, and it takes me 2 hours or less than that.
But yeah, some comments. Feral King says, hey, we both had one from Feral King. Look at that. Said, I like this idea. Personally, I'd like more added to the combat. Like give each character their own set of special moves / attacks to use to get the other racers to retire, but have them limited by cooldowns. So that way you can still keep the skill-based gameplay intact. This will also help flesh out the characters more. For single player, you give characters their own personal story missions to help flesh them out more. I feel like these coupled with online will definitely do the series well.
I agree.
Yeah. I think I actually read this.
Something we talk about a lot in videos like this, especially when it's like the Star Foxes, the other thing about like all that stuff. There's like this balance where it's like I stand by, even knowing Falcon and being friends with him and all that stuff. I think in these scenarios where these franchises are like, I mean, they don't keep up with them usually because they just don't sell enough to be worth it.
Yeah.
It's worth like referring to the fans and being like, we want to like do like make good for them or whatever, right?
But not cater specifically to them.
Exactly. It's just a smarter move to have moments where it's like they do almost like Easter egg situations where it's like, oh, I noticed that. Like this is a mechanic that's inspired by this thing, like that sort of thing, rather than to be like, we need to keep the core intact because obviously the core is not big enough. So like it's more worthwhile to be like, what idea would the masses like for this IP, and like how can we use like what this IP is about, again at its core, into something that's more marketable and can be embraced by more people.
I mean, because honestly, I think we all agree that like if an F-Zero fan wants more F-Zero games, making a game that's tailored exactly to what an F-Zero fan originally would have expected with no alterations barely at all,
or even the like there's a lot of articles that are like, you don't need a grand idea, just make F-Zero and put online racing. That's cap. That's cap. That's not going to sell. I'm telling you now.
And then there's no more F-Zero games ever, because they tried it again. They came back and tried it again, and it just didn't work. So like obviously they're like, well, I guess even in 2021 just doesn't work. Never going to do it. So I think it's definitely important to have something different that actually there will be a comment about that a little bit later. But I like this. I replied to this comment actually, and I first off read this as unique attacks for characters in the like on foot parts, realizing now they mean more like in the
like double dash sort of
which
situation.
I totally fine with both. I think it's like Smash. it would be good to have like a competitive mode where it's, Final Destination, no items, that kind of a thing. Mm-hmm. And then also fun.
Final Destination
like
is trash.
Battlefield.
Battlefield also bad. No, I'm joking. And they're not bad like that. They're not bad. It's just like, as a competitive game, there's counter picks for a reason. There's certain stages that are good for certain characters and bad for other ones.
Interesting.
That's another conversation.
But yes. So yeah, I mean, I think like those kinds of things. And I like the idea of like, in terms of on foot combat stuff, for it to happen at all, to be able to Falcon Punch. But then also, and this is the thing I commented of like, Falcon Punch is only Falcon Punch if you're not playing as Captain Falcon and you unlocked a new character. It's got to be something different, and like that's a great opportunity to have like a couple like special moves in the action bits that are something different. But then also similarly in the racing parts, have the racing be varied. There's a comment, Danny Man said, I feel like it could have a racing story mode where there are like chase missions, and I think that kind of thing too, where like that's not a part of the competitive gameplay and the like high tier gameplay. Like if you're an F-Zero fan, then that experience will be captured in the game for you, but it's not going to be all that the game is. And so you wouldn't have chase missions in that, but in the, main game, there's bits that are just that. Would be cool.
It'd be like a Pokemon thing where it's like, that competitive DNA is there, and the competitive player will be better than you at the chase missions, but like it's not a chase mission exclusive thing.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Uncultured Swine said, and they said that, not me, said F-Zero is prime for spin-off material. Wrong game, not prime. It's ready.
Oh my god,
it was a Metroid joke. F-Zero is prime for spin-off material. Have a beat 'em up that feels like a modern version of Captain Commando, but it's F-Zero. It would help a lot if during F-Zero's comeback, a character from the series and or Mute City Melee gets added into Smash Bros. I mean, I think the fact that Captain Falcon's already there is like, you're doing great. But if they
I think that like, I mean, it could help the game.
It could, yeah, right.
If they did, they would need to do. I think that this game, and I know you said like in the video that it would be a shame if they made this a Captain Falcon game, but they kind of game. Like they got to make it a Captain Falcon game in the sense that like,
in essence, if not in name.
Yeah, like, and the same way that for whatever stupid reason, Marvel and Sony thought that Iron Man was like imperative to be in Spider-Man.
Right.
Like, it's that sort of situation where it's like, in this case, I think it's more valid. Like, I definitely think that like Captain Falcon as an entity has significantly more clout than F-Zero. So like they got to do like the comic book integration thing where it's like, here's this character that but here's a world that you don't. Like that sort of situation.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. And then Instinct Labs says, hear me out. A Star Fox F-Zero crossover. Starlink had space exploration and racing. Do it like that. I feel like they can make a blend so well. 100%.
I mean, I think that's like a down the line sort of thing.
Yeah, right. I think it would suck.
You don't want to take both of your franchises that are struggling in the same exact way and put them together.
Right. Because I think ultimately it would, I mean, it's kind of like like a PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale kind of thing where like not some of those franchises, but a lot of them weren't like particularly popular in and of themselves. There was definitely a mixed bag there, and putting them all together makes you feel like I don't really
it just makes me not care about the game.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and the same kind of thing with like, sure, Shovel Knight is in some fighting games and that kind of thing, but like, I don't care about this game more because Shovel Knight's in here. It's just like, oh, that's a game where I care about all these other characters less than I care about Shovel Knight.
Yeah, exactly.
I can just play Shovel Knight.
Because I think the bulk of it needs to be that like I care so much about multiple characters in this video.
Right.
Like Smash Brothers is it's good because like there are a lot of characters that a lot of people care about. Like if just Pokemon Trainer was in the game and then the rest of the characters were people I don't care about, I don't think I would care about Smash Brothers. Or like I wouldn't know to care about it, I should say. Like I wouldn't play it to be able to be like, I like this game competitively. It's a fun game. And I think that this would have a similar effect to that, where it's like F-Zero and R5. I don't care about either.
Right. Yeah. But
also,
I think
did you
both
get
of those
Falcon's comment for this?
Yeah, I thought I did. Here, let me grab it. If not,
I see.
He was mad at me.
I think you posted. Oh no, you just didn't do, because like usually I'll grab like comment if somebody does another comment, I just delete their name and I add it to the other one.
Oh,
the other
yeah,
one that they did.
Be.
You put like, I guess somebody added another comment and you put their name twice, and I was like, did you post that instead?
Here,
or by accident?
Let's.
Because we gotta. That's why I had to grab the Mega Man comment for the Diddy Kong game, and we gotta grab.
I mean, Falcon for one thing said the YouTube comment box is not large enough to accommodate the sheer number of suggestions / ideas that I have.
Of course, it is. The series leave more than one comment. What?
And that's most of why I did include his comment, because Falcon, you didn't write a whole lot in this case. Otherwise, he also said, "Yeah, should I be offended that you didn't hit me up prior to making this video?" If you want to be, but also I was like, hey, I'm gonna maybe make a video today, but also if I can't make it in 3 hours, it's not happening at all.
Right.
So
yeah, like the only time that even is a thing that can work is if we know far in advance that this is going to be a video that we make. The schedules that we make our videos on is not a schedule that is conducive to working with people that we don't already know have a very similar workflow, where it's like, yo, you want to help out in this video? I need your thing by the end of the day.
But that said, I would very much like to hear your actual thoughts, Falcon. Because
I think at some point, like, we'll do that.
Yeah. Also, I probably would have this episode's going to be a little bit shorter of the podcast because we've got some stuff that we have to go to a little bit later. So otherwise, I had thought about seeing if Falcon could get on the podcast episode today, but I was like, man, we would talk forever, which would be great, but I would have to leave. So not really worth it. If any F-Zero news happens, Falcon is coming on the podcast 100%. So we all know. And that's it, man. I want to read all of Hadex Maro's comment, but it's super long. And so everybody, you can go read the whole thing, but the part that I did want to focus on is the second comment that he left. The first one is just a bunch of really cool ideas about essentially like adding some combat to the game, where it's not like weapons so much, but it's like more like using your car as a weapon and like using the driving itself as a weapon. I guess kind of like Burnout. Yeah. That sort of thing. So super interesting, fun comment to read.
Speed Racer also has like just straight up weapons.
Just
guns and oil.
And then the second comment is a bit more of a broad one, but says, I think you have a slight misunderstanding about what Nintendo means when they say new ideas. Modern day Nintendo doesn't care about story. What they want is new and original mechanics to show that they are innovative, or some other crud. When they have that, they then slap a very light and shallow narrative on top of that. And I specifically mean narrative, not story. I say that because stories are full of big events and moments. A narrative is just the back cover plot. A narrative is Bowser kidnapped Princess Peach, go save her, or Ganon has taken over Hyrule, go stop him. Basically, they only do premise and not much else, because the only thing they care about is mechanical design. Everything else to them is just flavor text. If an idea is revolving around narrative design more so than designing new mechanics, then you already have failed the pitch meeting in their eyes. What I mean is, what they want is an idea where you can play it as an alpha proof of concept build and take the story and narrative out completely. If there's something revolutionary in what you have left, that will be a thing that they're after. Classic examples how Splatoon started out as colorless tofu cubes. For them, it's not about the experience of the game, it's about the play of the game. Every 2D Mario had a new power-up. You got to play with that new power-up. That kind of thinking is exclusively how Nintendo operates, for better or for worse. Sony is the exact opposite. Their only focus is blockbusters, where they'll gladly give you a walking simulator of being a package boy so long as it's cinematic enough.
No, I disagree with this. I mean, like, where I think he's trying to come from is true. But where he thinks you're coming from is flawed, because you're not saying that the narrative is the thing.
Right.
What you're saying is like F-Zero is this like known quantity. It's this known thing that they've made several games of, but it needs to change to matter now. And this is how these are the gameplay ideas that would change that, and this is the narrative that they would then use to justify the change, in a very similar way to how Breath of the Wild, the gameplay came first, but there is a lot of lore and narrative that justifies the changes that they chose to make. This video is not saying that the premise of the game or the core of the game is that narrative. It's this is why they would make these gameplay changes.
It's like, I mean, in the sense that, yeah, they would make the gameplay changes first and foremost. And then, sure, I mean, as much story as I gave was Black Shadow and some other baddish kind of guys have some kind of crime syndicate, I guess. So, like,
yeah,
I don't care. That's
exactly.
like a
Like
story.
exactly. You didn't make like this video of like, imagine this grand story with all these fully fleshed out characters and blah. That's not what you said. What you said is like, F-Zero needs to change. It can't be straight up F-Zero. It can't be an arcade racer. If that is the core of the video, that is a gameplay thing.
Yeah, right.
You know, like that's what you're saying. And you're like, because this is a known quantity and there are people that are going to be like, this is an F-Zero. This is just preemptively Nintendo being like, no. It very much so is F-Zero. It's just not the same gameplay.
Otherwise, though, I mean, like, I agree with like the at least it's a little bit reductive, I think, but the comment in general in terms of like what Nintendo's approach is you know, true as far as like
that's how
for sure.
And it's not like it's not even a quote unquote innovative thing. It's definitely actually innovative, whether or not people like individual ideas from that. It's hit or miss. Usually, honestly, if we're being real, it's usually a hit. Whether you like it or not, or individual people like it or not, is neither here nor there. But like Splatoon, the example you gave, is actually innovative. There's no other shooter that worked as well as Splatoon did that works in the way that Splatoon does. So yeah, I agree that it is super reductive to look at it like that. And I think that like that, I mean, but again, yeah, that is their approach to game design. It's designing the video game. That's what they care about. The plot, like the plot for the experience of playing a video game does not matter, and it will never actually matter.
And I do wonder if, as new generations come up at Nintendo, if that's something, because obviously like that's something Miyamoto's talked about a lot, like almost to the point where he doesn't like story and like that it gets in the way and that kind of stuff. But I think about the parallels to like anime, and where Dragon Ball Z, for example, is like feels more about moments and more about power and more about cool stuff than it really does about story, versus a lot of more modern anime where it has to do with like actual story, and like there's a lot of that same like cool stuff and, you know, whatever, like I don't know, My Hero or something like that. There's like story beats that are significant and matter. So I wonder if like as new blood comes into Nintendo, if that's something where they try to infuse it a bit more with that, which already seems to be happening. Yeah, with like Breath of the Wild, there's not a ton of story in it in terms of like straight up story, but the lore tells a lot of the story.
Yeah, and I just think that that's all. I mean, to be fair, I think that's always been a fundamental thing for Nintendo. Nintendo cares about lore.
Yeah,
it's irrefutable that Nintendo cares about lore. They definitely do. They don't care about story, and I think that that's actually the case for all games. Like I can't think of a game that actually cares about story, or even like there. I mean, there's a lot of developers that care a lot.
You ever played Death Stranding?
Yeah, exactly. And that's another one that I disagree cares about story, because a lot of times like what they do is like they try to make a video game analog of another pre-existing plot device or whatever, right? Which is not caring about story. And it's very un-Nintendo to try to half-ass something like that. So like if they can't think of a way to be like, okay, what about this medium justifies this story? If they can't think of that, they're ignoring it. They're like, okay, story doesn't matter. We can't think of a way to make this a uniquely video game story. So therefore, we're not worried about it. And there's like arguments that people have, like I know Bob brings up like the Metal Gear moments and stuff like that. That is like a very like Dragon Ball Z action shonen anime approach to it, where it's like the narrative the story does not matter. Those moments are very specific to video games, and that I'll give you. But the story does not need to be a video game. It just doesn't. Like the story beats what happens in the video game. The dialogue has nothing to do with it being a game. Yeah. And until there's developers, or maybe even Nintendo is the one to do that. But again, I don't think they care about story enough to figure that out.
Right. Yeah.
Until there's a game designer that makes a game that couldn't be a game and like without this story and vice versa. Yeah. I don't think stories are going to ever matter in video games. I think that the closest that you'll get there is like it's an on-ramp. It's like I personally don't care about movies, but like if a story, and that's not me saying that. That's like a person be like, I don't care about movies. I like video games. If a video game can like give you a story that a movie would have, but didn't get your personal attention because you want to press buttons, you know, like in that way, story can matter. But like it doesn't matter in the way that stories started to like blow up in film, because that story could only exist in film, you know?
Yeah, no, for sure. I'll say too, again, the other comment that he left was fun, and you should go read it if you want to. Yes, but yes, in general, yeah, I agree. I'm going to move to the Q&A so that we can hit all these before we got to wrap up, which is, I mean, it's another half an hour. So we've got a while, but we know that we can tend to ramble. So here it goes. In YouTube community, I asked if people wanted a crossover of Star Fox and F-Zero, Metroid and Star Fox, F-Zero and Metroid, or Sin and Punishment in one of those or other. And by a long shot, Star Fox and F-Zero won. So Anas Kadura said Star Fox and F-Zero. Forrest Anis said Star Fox and Metroid because they're both in space. Checks out. Peter Gargan says, I feel like Star Fox and F-Zero lore-wise would overlap nicely.
Yeah, I feel like that's intentional.
Yeah.
Because there's like just straight up Star Fox character names and stuff like that.
I mean, the next one, Feral King says, I'm going for Star Fox and F-Zero just because of James McLeod. Probably the most generic reason, but still a reason, which is, a character that's obviously supposed to point back to Star Fox. So there you go. Yeah, I mean, it would be fun to have a crossover of any of those. But like we said earlier, I feel like it's got to be established as their own franchises first that are pretty successful before, you kind of bastardize them by mixing them together. Otherwise, there's no turning back. Yep. All right.
Because best case scenario, they succeed together and they can't be divorced.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. That's not like,
we want them to
that would be like making an Avengers movie and then trying to make an Iron Man movie. It would be like, okay, that kind of worked. As opposed to like, they've introduced characters in, Avengers or whatever. They like Black Widow and Hawkeye and stuff like that. Now there's going to be a Black Widow movie, but it took 3 Avengers movies before she could.
And it's just harder. It's harder to do that the other way around.
Yeah.
Like that's why the DCEU didn't work out in the way that the MCU did, because people were given time to care about each individual character. If I'm just meeting Cyborg now, I don't care about him. It's like, that's
I don't know. I met him in Teen Titans, so I don't know what you're talking about.
It's true, but he wasn't
exactly.
Cyborg, dude.
He was very much not. He was fun and goofy. Goldfish says, this is the regular comments now. Goldfish says Saint Andre is best cheese, because I asked if people had any cheese questions. Man, I'm hard pressed not to pick some kind of Gruyere, to be perfectly honest.
The cheese is good. That's all I know. I know the worst cheese. Swiss cheese, throw it in the garbage. I hate it.
So, okay, here's the thing. There's a couple of cheeses like Swiss cheese, for example, that like if you Swiss cheese in packet slices and stuff like that, super not good. But there's other like I think it's based off of, I need to look it up. Swiss cheese. Is it based off an Emmental? Yeah, okay. It resembles, which that is like one of the best cheeses, but in the form that we have it in like grocery stores for like slices, super bland, not good at all. So like, they just messed it up. And same thing later, somebody's Falcon. Yeah, Falcon said Munster cheese is really good. And I think I've had Munster cheese like in a block before, and like, you know, had cut it off and it's good. But this just straight up slices of Munster cheese, super bland, and I don't like it. I mean, I like it fine, but like, it's not great. I think that's the point, is just like, if you can buy it in little slices, like, you know, Walmart brand slices, probably not the best cheese. Hot take there. Non-cheese related. Have either of you ever had cookie butter? Think smooth peanut butter, but made from cookies.
I've heard of it. Never had it. I've wanted to try it, but never had a reason to, you know? I don't know too many places. Like, I don't know if Target has it or whatever. Like when
it definitely does.
I just go on freaking, what is it even called? Instacart. And I'm like, all right, these are the groceries I want.
Yeah.
And that's how I order my groceries, man.
I have a problem with cookie butter. I don't really. I have a problem with something related to cookie butter. Cookie butter is also known as speculoos butter. Speculoos is a Belgian cookie. It's like a ginger cookie. Super, super good. It's like classic Belgian. And also like probably a bunch of, if you have a flight and they ask you if you want like peanuts, pretzels, or cookies, and they'll give you like, and you pick the cookies, oftentimes it'll be little speculoos cookies. And that's what the cookie butter cookies, or that's what cookie butter is based off of. What makes me mad is that then, like, it's fine that they just call it cookie butter and don't call it speculoos, because like, who knows what speculoos is here or something like that. But then they call the cookies cookie butter cookies.
Yeah.
Which makes me so, that would be like if you had peanuts and called them peanut butter nuts. Like, it's
like when I try to make people mad by calling Cloud the guy from Smash Brothers.
Yeah, right, exactly. So that kind of thing. I'm as somebody who spent 6 years of my life in Belgium, and my parents are still there, and I go back fairly often. And speculoos being Belgian cookies, I take issue with that. That said, so good. It's delicious. Like, definitely pick it up at some point. It's there's nothing not to like about it.
I'll see it next time I get groceries. I'll see if
there
it's
you
on
go. Yeah, it's good stuff. Joaquin Fernandez said, when Prime 4 comes out, I think Nintendo will make more cash if they also put it on PC, but that will never happen.
I mean, they would.
Technically, they would. Yeah.
Yeah, they would. But like,
agreed, though. It'll never happen.
Yeah, it's not happening. Because it's like, ultimately, they're not doing it for the like dollars to donuts sort of situation. Right. They don't really care about each individual cell. They also care about equity. Like, they're like, okay, that like this cell means something that you may continue to buy more Nintendo consoles moving forward, because what if Prime 5 happens, you know, like they're not Microsoft.
Yep. I mean, and they've, you know, like, I don't know how much individual specific games take to make, but like for every non-sale that could have happened for Metroid Prime 4 on PC that they don't because it's not on PC, they have 17 Mario Kart 8 deluxes that are being sold, making them that same money, to where it's like, yeah they're definitely like, they're going to care more about this game being a prestige piece and being like the best game it can, and bringing back the good name of Metroid to Nintendo and it being associated with Nintendo more so than like it just, you know, selling more copies, which again, yeah, totally. It would technically sell more copies, but
I think Nintendo is just better at the Disney Vault thing.
Yeah,
like
right.
Sony tries it to some extent, or they have, and I feel like they've recently given up on it. Where it's like, these games are PlayStation games. You need a PlayStation to play them. And like, their games sell fine, but usually their console is the best, like in the past couple generations. Sans PlayStation 3, and that's literally the only one that it hasn't been the best selling console, but yet they never have the best selling exclusives ever. It's always Nintendo. And that's because, like, I mean, back then it was because people didn't really care about their exclusives, but now it's like a thing of like, people care, but not that many people care, and they're trying to get more people to care by just doing the sheer volume. But Nintendo already is at the point where so many people care that they will spend $300 to play Animal Crossing.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yep.
It's like, why would I put it on PC if I can know that you're going to give me $360, that $60 from that one dude that refuses to buy a Switch, whatever.
Like, and that every other person that gets Animal Crossing will probably at least get one other game at some point, you know, and like get you into the ecosystem. Because like at that point, you know, that's a gateway game to other games, they hope. You know, maybe not for everybody, but at least for some people, for sure.
Yeah. And it's just like, because Nintendo is so much more steadfast with their morals, like or more like morals, where they're like, our games are worth more than that. So they're 60. Oh, well, you know, or the Wii U thing where it's like, the Wii U failed. So like, they'll probably lower the price. They're like, nah, dude, nobody's buying this. But the 3 people that do, they're going to give us $300 or whatever. Right. Like, that's just how they work.
Yeah, it's true. Ben Chacon says, what do you think of the new Switch being a handheld / home console and it having a bigger focus on turning it into a VR machine? I can imagine a new Luigi's Mansion and Metroid on it.
I could see that happening. I don't have any strong opinions in favor or against that. I don't really care that much about VR. I haven't really been convinced yet. It could be interesting, but I'm still largely in the same place that I was when I first tried VR at like Full Sail's VR studio, where they had like all the like they had Oculus and like HTC Vive and PlayStation VR. I was like, what is their thing called? Like they had and they even had HoloLens, and I'm like, oh, this is fine. Like, I don't. This isn't really a thing that I want to do. It feels like. It still feels like what VR has been leading up until now, where it's like, it's this amusement park thing where it's like, it's fun if I go to Chuck E. Cheese and I'll give you a freaking $1 to play this for 10 minutes or whatever. But like, I don't really care to have it in my house yet.
Yeah.
Especially since the cost of entry is as much as it usually is. So,
which that's the thing that like, I think this, you know, to answer this specifically, I feel like I could see it happening with the Switch Pro, new Switch or whatever, but I am almost like convinced that it will happen with the Switch success with a Nintendo swap. Because there's just practically no barrier to entry. You know, like maybe there could be any number of peripherals that, you know, one from Hori for like $20 all the way up to an official Nintendo one for $100 or something that's a little bit different that, you know, holds your Switch or whatever. But like generally you've got all the components already there. And it's a new experience and all that kind of stuff. But I think that's something that it definitely has going for it, is the low barrier entry, as opposed to all the other ones that you just mentioned, where it's like, that's the money right there. But the thing that makes me think not with this one is because even though it's going to be more powerful, the Switch Pro theoretically is more powerful and like theoretically has DLSS and all that. Because that's AI upscaling, I do wonder if it's more dynamic and so wouldn't necessarily quite curb that tipping point of it being, you know, consistently good for your eyes and all that kind of stuff. So therefore, I feel like maybe they'd want to wait until a full generational upgrade and have something where it's like, it's strong enough so that base level, it's already doing the thing that's like not going to give you migraines if you play for 3 hours or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, Luigi's Mansion, Metroid, like all those, there's plenty of games that would like work super well. And like maybe even franchises that don't do super great in and of themselves. I mean, those ones are fine, but you know, like Mario, it could be good. Like I know Astrobot did pretty well on PlayStation VR, but like that was still more, I don't know, VR where you were experiencing it and viewing it, but not like playing first person kind of things. Whereas some of those other games, I feel like there's some franchises that could take advantage of that in a different way. That would be pretty neat. Yeah. Luru Legends says, if you could choose only one of the rumored games to come out this year, which would it be? Number 1, Donkey Kong Country from the Odyssey studio. Number 2, new 2D Metroid. Or 3, Sonic Colors Remastered. Number 4, Prime Trilogy. Or lastly, Wind Waker / Twilight Princess bundle.
I mean, probably the Donkey Kong game. Donkey Kong or the Prime Trilogy. I don't really care about 2D Metroid. Maybe one day I will. Donkey Kong, I mean, it's been too long without a Donkey Kong game. I feel like Prime Trilogy, just because hopefully it'll make me care more about Prime 4 outside of the fact that it's like the game that we're all supposed to be excited about or whatever. So probably that.
I think, so. Yeah, I would say one of the first two, Donkey Kong or New 2D Metroid, because the other ones seem like givens eventually anyway. Prime Trilogy, even like it's going to happen eventually, whereas the other two are straight up new games, and those are a bit more question marks, to where like even a New 2D Metroid, if I'm somebody that would rather Prime Trilogy than if I'm chipping in my coin for 2D Metroid, then the other one probably is a gimme regardless. But if only one, I'd probably say 2D Metroid. I don't know.
I'm just nah.
Mostly, and like honestly,
because I mean, I like the concept. Like I like Metroidvanias and games that use that whole like looping in on itself, like revisiting places for progression and stuff like that. But for whatever reason, it just feels super trite to me right now. I mean, probably because that's half of the games on the eShop,
right?
And it's like I don't care about these video games. Like I'm just like I don't want to.
There is something to be said, like making that something like you really have to build out the world, I feel like, and that's something that not all those games do, to make it feel authentic, and that it's like, it makes sense that I'm going around doing these things. Otherwise, it's, I feel like, pretty easy to see, even with good mechanics, to see the seams and be like, this is, I can tell this was designed, and like that's something that's just something that's never particularly fun. I mean, sometimes you can tell that and then just get over it anyway and be like, whatever, but it's fun to play, so who even cares?
Yeah, like I can tell that it's designed. I mean, that happens mostly because like that's what we do, is think about video games. So like I feel like that happens a lot, but if it's designed well, that's even a bonus. Where it's like Breath of the Wild, right? Like I can tell it's designed, but like I can like the intricacies of that design is what makes it,
where you can get lost in it every once in a while and kind of forget for a minute.
Even think about that? Like,
So one of those first two. I do hope. Donkey Kong. Come on, Donkey Kong. Twitter questions. Proud Prince. Well, we already did Falcons. Munster cheese is really good. I'm gonna have to try some better Munster cheese as well to really give my opinions, but that's an aside. Proud Prince says Dead by Daylight announced that they are adding Resident Evil characters to the game. Any thoughts on who you think would be cool to see in the game?
The vampire lady. I don't know. I don't know. The Resident Evil 4 guy.
Yep. Joseph, I think is his name, or maybe Freddy or Tom or
Frank,
Reginald. So specifically Resident Evil characters. Yeah. Man, I know I've never played a Resident Evil game, not even once. I played
the co-op for Resident Evil, not the whole thing, but like 5 and 6. I played a little bit of both of those. I played Resident Evil 4, so Will don't come for me. I didn't play the whole game, but like I played enough to be like, all right, I get it. And that's it. I might play 8. Who knows? That's the Series X game, which there's freaking gross behind the scenes stuff. Oof. Yeah, gross. But like, PlayStation, everybody like, we love them, right?
Man. There's that. Digital Gaming Hub asked 2 questions. I'm going to do them in reverse order. Can you make Nintendo give us more info on Pokemon Arceus and Breath of the Wild 2? Yep.
Nah, man, we're keeping it for ourselves.
Oh, I can make them do it.
We know everything. We know.
There's a little currency called time. You just got to give them some of that. Oof, they love it, and they will take it and they will use it and give you details eventually.
But also we already know. We know, and you're not allowed to know.
Oh yeah, what he said too.
We don't, but we do though.
I'm gonna go reverse order and finish on the other one. Mega Man in Discord said, "Why will new Pokemon Snap?"
No, there's more Twitter.
I know, but I'm gonna come back to that. I just said that. Oh, like more Twitter.
No, more Twitter, like on Twitter.
Grabbing it. Got it. Here we go. Devilman's Crybaby said, "Is that the only one?" I think that's.
I think so. Yeah.
What you been listening to lately? Also, are you gonna watch the new Mortal Kombat movie?
So what I do is I go on YouTube Music and I click like one of the like playlists or whatever. Usually I just like recently, because I have so many just like songs, I just go on that and I shuffle on there, and there's like, there's like freaking J. Cole, there's Kanye West, there's Frank Ocean, there's Smino, there's Daniel Caesar, Logic, Her. There's like a lot of different like hip hop, R&B, pop. There's like some rock stuff in here. A lot of different stuff that I just click shuffle and listen to that. And also podcasts. I'm still listening to a Rooster Teeth podcast called F-Face. Can't say the actual name is actually a sin to say. Even if we were allowed to say the word, you're not allowed to say the word. That's not what the podcast is called.
That's true.
It's called Bleep Face. But I don't have the bleep. I'm listening to that, and that's about it.
There you go. I literally just got a text from a friend that said, I made a playlist for, well, it's a screenshot of something else. I made a playlist for hiking. It has music from Peanuts, the Cranberries, and Eminem. I call it my trail mix.
Oh my God.
So that's what that
I hate it.
Not true at all, but I love it. That's from my friend Chris. Good job, Chris.
I hate it.
For reals though, let's see. I mean, a lot of stuff. Top 3 that come to mind off the top of my head are Pliny's album from last year, like instrumental progressive metal, but like with some on the lighter side of progressive metal with some more like jazz influences and stuff. And like, I very much enjoy where a lot of things are going, where there's like some jazz and hip hop, like maybe more traditional hip hop kinds of stuff that's getting infused in a lot of other genres. That's really fun. And so that's doing some of that. So Pliny's album, Impulse Voices, very good. Kadinja, I always enjoy. They're also like gent progressive metal kind of thing, but not instrumental, but like very melodic, which is nice while also being kind of heavy. So that's fun. And then also today I refound for the first time in a couple of years, Paulienzo, who is not metal at all. You'd probably like Paulienzo, I guess. I don't even know how to describe them, to be perfectly honest. I'm truly not sure. Let's see what the internet says about them. Paulienzo. Yeah, that doesn't feel specific enough, but it says an experimental rock band, which experimental rock, indie rock. Yeah, I don't know. I disagree with that, but like kinda. In any case, they're good. Check them out. Specifically, the album "Pure in the Plastic" is very, very tasty.
I was getting crap yesterday about music because Lee and Youth Hurt we're streaming, we're playing Pokemon, and Youth Hurt was just hanging out in the Discord. But they were talking about like trap music and stuff and like mumble rap, and I was like, I don't care about any of that. But like, I just don't care. But I'm not going to volunteer that information. I'm not the type of person to like volunteer. Like, I hate this.
You just volunteered it right now.
I did that in response to the conversation that we had about music, because they're like, you're like a music snob. And I'm like, I don't know if I would describe it like that, because like, I don't walk around and be like, the music you like is bad. I'm just like, I personally don't like listening to that. But like, I'm not gonna like, my sister listens to trap music. I'm not like, turn that off. I'm just like, I just wouldn't listen to this by myself. Like,
there was a song for the first time in a very, very long time that I was like, I would very much like this song not to be playing anymore. And I was in a Cracker Barrel on the road trip to use the bathroom there, because that's where you'd have bathroom breaks on the road trips.
The only reason why I use Cracker Barrel ever.
Yeah. And there was a song I found out it's by George Strait, and it was like, I worked in the country music industry for like 2.5 years, so I'm pretty just like fine with most country music. I don't like it basically at all.
No, you can't not like country music. You live like
I'm in Nashville pretty much.
Dude.
Yeah. So like I don't like country music. But then there's tolerances where it's some that it's like, yeah, actually I enjoy that a little bit. And then most of it's like, just kind of, let it go over my head.
I mean, that's where I'm at.
And
just
this
musically,
song,
almost in general, where it's like I like a little bit of everything, but not all of anything.
I was so mad at this song's existence for no good reason. It's George Strait. I think it's called I've Got a Car. George Strait. Let's see. Is it called I've Got a Car?
Yeah, what kind of car?
Yep, I Got a Car. And it's
what kind of car
maybe you love country music.
If it's a
maybe you love this
truck,
song.
This song is immediately the worst song.
I'm just going to read the lyrics of the chorus. I said, well, I got a car. She said, there's something. At least it's a start. I said, it's better than nothing. I ain't in no hurry, but I'm ready when you are. And she said, what do you think all this is going? I said, there ain't no way of knowing. I really hadn't thought it through that far. And I can't promise you the moon or the stars, but I got a car.
What kind of car is it?
Yeah, we can't know. Well,
song sucks. Bad song. I bet you it's a pickup truck.
It's gotta be.
I bet it's a pick. I bet money that it's a pickup truck.
100%. Yeah, oh man, it was painful. So there's that. Are you gonna watch the new Mortal Kombat movie? Yeah,
no,
I think so.
I'm not. I refuse.
We have HBO Max, so it's
so
there.
do I, but it's still my time.
Yeah, I think for me, it totally depends on if Ashley wants to watch it. Because I just don't watch movies by myself ever at all. But if she's interested in watching it, then sure. We'll probably try it a little bit. And if
why would she want to watch Mortal Kombat?
I feel like she said something about it the other day to where she was interested in is that supposed to be good? I was like, I don't know.
No.
People say it looks like it's going to be good. What are the reviews?
Do they? I don't know.
Mortal Kombat movie.
I think the Mortal Kombat movie, best case scenario, the appeal is that people know it's going to be bad and referential of that.
It's getting worse reviews than the Metascore specifically, which is there's more votes than but it's 43% out instead of the 60% of the 1995 one, which is
I'm not surprised by that at all. I feel like this movie is in the territory where it's man, all our movies suck. Let's make that a thing, let's make this movie suck. And that's the appeal. It's how bad can we make this movie?
Wow. Yeah. In any case, maybe. But I at least need to catch up on Invincible and watch Falcon and Winter Soldier. We'll be doing that.
I watched Invincible at midnight because
nice.
I mean, no, actually, I watched it after that. Because again, I was talking to Lee, and we don't know who West is, but I was talking to West, who's Lee's brother. It's Lee's brother. Make sure you tell Lee. Say, yo, you never told me you got a brother.
That's true. And then he'll be mad at it. I'll be mad at it. That's yep.
Yeah, be mad at him because he never told you that Wes was his brother. And I mean, that's not really related. But after we got off the Discord call 3 a.m., I was like, yo, I gotta watch Invincible. And I watched Invincible, and I was like, I'm not watching Falcon and Winter Soldier right now. But I did that when I woke up.
Nice. So here, quick question: why will new Pokemon Snap be Game of the Year? Because it's gonna be great. Mega Man asked that,
but then again, they got the Diamond Pro the remaster, so maybe it won't be. Sorry.
That's true. But back to Winter Soldier stuff. I haven't watched it, so I can't spoil anything about the last episode anyway. I've only got 1 minute before I gotta go anyway. But Digital Gaming Hub did ask WandaVision or Winter Soldier. No spoilers though.
Free.
Yes, 100%.
No,
I do appreciate a lot of just in general the topical themes of Falcon and Winter Soldier. That's one of the best things that it's doing.
I like it, but at the same time, I like it for that reason, but I also don't.
Because
it is in the very Hollywood, but there's good in everyone sort of way, and it's no, I don't know about that one.
Yeah, I also haven't seen the last one to know how that kind of pans out. So, man, we'll see. Yeah. But in general, still WandaVision for sure. Loki looks freaking great, and also Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Watch the trailer for that. That looks dope. I'm excited for it. And that's all. Good job, everybody. You listened to a whole podcast. You listened to two people talking. We could have talked for a lot longer, but I can't. I'm about to lose my voice. That's the timer my voice is gonna be gone.
It's almost midnight. He's gonna lose the glass slippers. Yep. The pumpkin's turning back into a pumpkin.
That's true. And I'm just gonna be shriveled up inside a pumpkin. Does everybody want that? No, I don't think you do. So if you don't want that, make sure to click the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Yes.
And all that good stuff.
Leave comments and ratings on the podcast if you listen podcast service, all that stuff.
I haven't even checked that in so long.
Me either. But like leave us a nice present in the reviews if you listen on the podcast, or if you have a freaking Apple account or something, leave a review if you watch it on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
It helps out.
It's true. There it is.
All right. We did it.
See you.
Goodbye. Bye.